Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to PJ's on Airline Highway for another episode of NewOrleans.Football, presented by PJ's Coffee. We're coming to you from the mobile Oshner Health Podcast studio. And if you're in the market for a new car, check out my guy Matt Bowers at one of his many locations throughout the greater New Orleans region. They got the state-of-the-art Ford dealership up there on Vets. If you want a new car, make sure you go and check them out. On today's show, we're going to break down kind of where the team's at going into this weekend's game against the Chargers. They got a lot healthier. Going to be a better look at Spencer Rattler. We're going to talk about that and much more right after this quick word from our sponsors. Oshner Health is proud to team up with the NFL and the New Orleans Saints' Crucial Catch mission to fight cancer and save lives. Crucial Catch helps more people access the tools they need to catch cancer early and promotes prevention and early detection of cancer.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room, because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. Their agents are born and raised in the area and understand our community's unique needs and the homeowners insurance crisis our residents are currently in. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. They know your time is valuable, which is why they work diligently to provide you with the quotes as soon as possible. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. When we couldn't find someone to insure our house because of the big oak tree growing over top, Chabert worked until they found someone that would work with us and give us the protection that we need to feel safe in our new home. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com. All right, let's get into the show. Welcome back to the mobile Oshner Health Podcast Studio. We're here at PJ's on Airline Highway. Make sure you get every day started with them. They got great coffee, great selection of pastries. I'm Nick Underhill here with Mike Triplett. Brandon's over there. E's there. Joe's in the back. We got the whole crew here today for today's show. Mike, first thing on the docket, man. This segment is presented by Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. How much better do we think Spencer Rattler can look this week? They're going to have some healthy guys around him. Chris Olave, Taysom Hill, Cesar Ruiz, Lucas Patrick back on the offensive line. He's had 2 games to kind of go and show what he can do. Going to get a better look at him this week. How much different do you think it looks with a little bit of support?
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch him. Like, it's so funny. The excitement level of the unveiling of Spencer Rattler 2 weeks ago, we acted like it was draft week. I mean, we probably wrote more stories in a week than we ever have. And the fan base was the exact same way. And then he struggles, as expected, behind no offensive line with no receivers. And it's just like the noise is quieted down so much. But, like, I think it's going to be our best look yet at him. Not only does he have almost the entire offensive line in front of him, everyone except for Eric McCoy. He's not going to have Rashid Shaheed, but he's going to have a pretty full offensive arsenal around him. He's also got 10 days to prepare, and you spoke to him for a story everyone needs to check out on the website, but he made a reference to that. I mean, when he first got thrown into the fire, they got back from Kansas City on a Tuesday morning, and they were playing on Sunday, and they had a short, abbreviated practice week, a lot of walkthroughs. His second start was a Thursday game, so it was nothing but walkthrough. This is like the first time he's gone through like a full practice week in his career. So, not to mention just learning from 2 starts, and this being his third start with the experience of what went well, what didn't go well. I mean, this is going to be our best look yet at him. Maybe our last look, but our best look at him. I expect him to do the best he's done yet for all those reasons I just laid out, and I expect us to like actually formulate an opinion on him in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should look a little bit different. One of the things I talked to him yesterday, had a little conversation with him. One of the things he did point out, though, is that this is the first time he's going to be playing with a lot of these guys. So,
Sure.
Again, it's not like you walk out and you have years of chemistry and you're tapping back into it. He's still trying to figure out how to play with Taysom. He's never played behind these guys on the offensive line. Only had the one game with Olave, so there's going to be some time to get down there. MVS will probably be playing a little bit this week. Valdez-Scantling, that is. That's somebody he's never really thrown to in a game. So, I think there is still some challenge there, but obviously if you got some opportunity to sit in the pocket a little bit more, that helps. He had 12 throws last week where the time to pressure was 2 seconds or less. It was the highest in the league. 5 was the other one. Part of that's the offensive line. Part of that's recognizing blitz, too, and knowing when you got to protect yourself. He's got to do a little bit of a better job at that. He told me that's something that he's really been working on this week, that they've been going through some different things with him on that. He wants to get a better feel for when to run, when not to run, when to kind of stay in there. He said there's been a few times where it's been a little bit too easy for him to try to just like rely on himself and take him outside of the play structure. So he needs to figure some of that stuff out. So there's some things he's trying to do a little bit better this week. There's a lot of stuff he's done well too, and I can't say that I know inside that building, like they do remain really high on him. Like they think he's done a lot of good things really well. It's a matter of a couple plays. I feel like if they can clean him up, like some of those games look different. But this is going to be the closest thing we've seen to him having a full strength, and it's the closest he's going to get. Eric McCoy's not able to come back, so yeah. I mean, I think it lends for a better opportunity for success.
I'm doing a great job with the cliche that we're always taught: don't get too high and don't get too low. I think I was the least like over enthusiastic of what we saw in training camp in the preseason. I kind of felt like he showed a lot of great things, but I didn't think they had the next coming of Patrick Mahomes, who was going to be an instant star. And then his struggles behind the offensive line. I mean, you said he has to decide when to take off running. I certainly didn't see many opportunities where he shouldn't have taken off running. I mean, that pocket, especially in this last game, he never had 1 second to stay in that pocket. He never had a chance. So I also didn't get too discouraged by him. I kind of feel the same about Spencer Rattler now as I did before he ever started a game. I know a lot of the enthusiasm and excitement has diminished a little bit because he's proven that he's human. But I'm still high on him. I mean, we've still seen his ability to throw the ball. We've still seen his ability to move. We've still seen some poise. And we've also seen, he's a rookie with no experience whatsoever. And a lot of this stuff is gonna take years to come around. So I'm not surprised at all to hear that the people inside the building are still high on him. I don't think it would be fair for these 2 games to take that away.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we were saying, too, is that it would have been impossible for anyone to succeed under them circumstances. And even going back to the Chiefs game, like that was an impossible circumstance, too. Like, just playing behind that line in the state it was in was really tough. I think that maybe they got a handful of guys that you're okay with maybe putting like one into a game, but when it's 3 of them at the same time, like that's a tough spot to be in. I do think that like when they come out of this, you probably feel a little bit better about the offensive line depth because now you've seen some of these guys in there. But in a one guy situation, like if it's three at once, like you're absolutely
acting
screwed.
like there were. I'm not acting, but a reminder. You're talking about the three people in the middle, and that's like pretending like the tackles were okay. The tackles are still Talifuaga and Trevor Penning, who are not sure thing known commodities either. It's not like they had Ramczyk and Armstead at tackle and just the whole line was a question mark.
Line. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what he can do. I think Alvin's going to probably have a better game this week because the line's going to be a little bit healthier. Still want to see Lucas Patrick play a little better. Want to see Cesar Ruiz play a little bit better. Want to see Connor McGovern, who we're assuming will probably be at center, play a little bit better.
McGovern center, Patrick left guard. That just makes the most sense since Saldivary's out. So
so handful of things that are going to be working on his side. I still don't think they have good enough receivers. It still feels like one guy and a bunch of question marks, but we'll see. He at least has a chance, I think, this week to maybe stand in there a little bit, get through his reads, not feel uncomfortable. To his credit, though, he's never looked uncomfortable. The only real fault I have with him, the only thing I don't like that we saw from him that we didn't necessarily know before is that, and this was another thing he talked about, so it's not like he's unaware of it, and it's not like he isn't working on it, but there was maybe a little bit too much trying. I don't want to say like hero ball, but when things went bad, like trying to avoid a negative play and not necessarily just getting to the next play, as he said. Just get to the next play. Like, don't create a turnover. Don't try to throw. Like, just take the sack. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to take a sack. And
there have been a couple terrible moments of that. Yeah, where like turnovers are turned for touchdowns because I don't want to use the word panic either, but like it's not panic. It's I can salvage this.
Yeah, the one thing
don't
about
try
him,
to salvage it.
The one thing about him is I don't think I've ever seen panic, and that's kind of the craziest thing about him. But yeah, it's the well, I can get rid of the ball and not. Yeah. And I don't think that's a fatal flaw. I think it's just like, hey, don't do this. And sure, like you might get back in one of those moments and it might happen again. But I think, just a few times with play, like, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, you stop, and like that gets fixed. So I don't think it's a huge thing. I haven't seen anything that I feel like is a super fatal flaw, like just seeing the blitz a little bit better, like not making some of those plays. And who knows, like maybe he'll do a little bit better on those two fronts this weekend and have that positive momentum going back into, hopefully they get Carr back soon, and that starts with the Carolina game.
I think the offense is going to be a lot more functional. I think Rattler's going to be able to do some things, have some first career highlights. But I'm still picking the Chargers to win because they have Spencer Rattler at quarterback. I mean, they have everybody else back except for Derek Carr and Eric McCoy. And those are still two, that still sways the who you think's going to win. If a healthy Derek Carr had never left the lineup, I would really give the Saints a chance to win. I think they're the underdogs because Spencer Rattler's at quarterback, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Until he shows he can win a game, I think that's fair. I'm excited to see him in this game, though. All right, moving on to the next one, presented by Urban South. Which one healthy player will make the biggest difference? The vibe has been noticeably energized at Saints practice this week with so many guys back. I'll let you take your
don't you think? I mean,
no. Who's your guy?
I know, but don't you think? Like,
no, we went out there on Wednesday, and it was like, damn.
Like there is a like a B12 shot. Is that
like
the right?
Is that the right? Taysom's like they jog through their stretch line. Like Taysom's like jumping and spinning, and like there's just like a energy. Just kind of seeing everybody out there just feels like. It was like, oh, okay, like this is different. Like it might get back to
what
something.
Would Richard Sherman say if he had seen practice?
Oh,
They're trying to keep their coach hired.
Was Richard Sherman ever in the building? I never saw Richard Sherman at a practice. I never saw him in the building. I never saw him talking to anybody. I don't know.
Look, he made the same. I will cut Richard Sherman some slack in that he made the same evaluation that my entire Twitter feed. People texting me, 97% of the fan base, us, we're all making the same observations. He just said it bluntly so that we could walk up to every player and say, a lot of people are saying you guys quit. Richard Sherman said it.
Yeah.
And we got to hear how they responded to that. So that was
the energy did look little.
It was terrible.
Yeah, they looked
understood where it was coming
beaten
from.
Down. They looked beaten down, and they should have. They were getting beaten down.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Chris Olave from this list. I would, if Cesar Ruiz and Lucas Patrick as it could form like the Wonder Twins duo, and you could say a healthy offensive line was one was one unit, that would be a candidate for me. But Chris Olave, I mean, the difference between having a number one receiver who's probably one of like the top 15 receivers in the league and having Cedric Wilson and MVS, who showed up on Monday, being your candidates for number one receiver. And I think Rattler loves to give him the ball. I think Rattler did get to work with him here and there throughout training camp, and every time he did, he delivered a pass to him. Olave came through for him. He's such a security blanket for any quarterback. I think that's the one injury that matters most, or the player returning from injury that matters most.
I'm going to go Caesar, I guess. Caesar or – can I take both of them? I don't know. It's just for me.
I know that's for me, a healthy offensive line.
The offensive line, it makes the biggest difference to me. Just you can run the ball now. You can run the ball a little better. Maybe that helps Rattler with the play action game, and maybe that sets things up. It makes it a little bit better.
Maybe it's 2nd and 4 once in a while.
I mean, I wanted to pick Taysom, but I think just the ability. Like if you ask me, would you rather be able to block or have Taysom Hill? I got to go with blocking on it. But, I mean, all of them, I think, make a big difference. All of them do.
Pete Werner, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
Pete
on
Werner
the other side of the ball, this run defense has been the worst unit on the team and the worst unit in the league for the last 2 weeks.
So, the projected starters on defense, the interior guys were Colin Saunders and Nate Shepard, and then whoever you want to say the ends are, Cam and,
Granderson, Young, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And then the projected starting linebackers, Willie Gay, Demario Davis, Pete Werner. If we're going nickel, we'll just say Demario and Werner. They have not had the nickel defense or even the base defense healthy, the front seven, until this week. Weeks 1 to 3, Colin Saunders was on there. Demario Davis was on there week 4. Werner was in there 5 to 7. Willie Gay was on there earlier this year. They have not had all those guys, all 6, all 7, whatever it is, at the same time healthy. I mean, I think that matters a little bit. They got to be better up front, but having all those guys, it at least allows you. I don't think it's the same as the O-line where you say you're putting these 2 guys back and you're going to be able to block better. They still got to show they can stop the run, to actually stop the run. But I think it does absolutely help to have everybody up there. They talked about communication a lot. I think when you're having moving pieces, that probably hurts with some of the communication. So just getting what you are supposed to be on the field, that has to help. That has to help.
And I also have to think this 10-day break, mini-bye, whatever you want to call it, recharge, refresh, reset, wash, whatever was going on before, has to help the front 7 on the defense more than anything, because they were spinning down the drain. And I know sometimes guys say, can't wait to get back on the field. They needed time away from the field. Yeah. They need it bad.
Yeah, I mean, they got to play way better. I mean, hopefully during that time away they got embarrassed by the tackling. I really hope that's something that because they all can tackle. They're better than that. That's way all the stuff. They can get blown off the ball. They can do they can. We've seen all these players tackle. You can tackle. It's crazy.
They used to be a specialty of this defense.
I don't understand how it becomes a widespread issue all at once. That is weird. I could see one guy missing a couple, but it was the whole team all at once at the same time. Yeah. I've never – I don't know. I don't understand it. I can't get my head around it. It makes zero sense to me. But, yeah, definitely getting healthy is going to be a huge thing. We're going to start being able to see what the team's going to be able to do. And lo and behold, did you know that the starting quarterback matters?
The starting quarterback matters?
Yeah, did you know that?
Not the Saints, because they have a terrible starting quarterback, right?
Did you know
it's better to go with the rookie, right?
Did you know it matters? It makes a difference. It actually makes a difference. Being one of the top 20 quarterbacks in the league is tough. It is. It's a really tough thing. I'm not saying he's a cure-all, but he definitely matters. Yeah, they're healthy, but the biggest piece of it is still out until he's back. I don't really feel great about where they're at, but they're heading the right direction. But yeah, I just don't want to, in case anyone out there, the starting quarterback matters. All right, moving on to the next topic, presented by the Louisiana Lottery. What will it take for Chris Olave to be a fantasy set it and forget it guy? I don't think I'm personally going to get there this year, but we can we got this graphic here, kind of how open he has been this season on all of his routes, even when he's not getting the ball. Top right corner, if you're listening, there's a 2-axis here. There's Chris Olave and there's Nico Collins in the upper right-hand corner of this chart. The upper right-hand corner basically is your separation and all that stuff. He is flying way up there. And then everybody else is kind of back towards the pack, but the ball does not come his way as often as you would probably like. And, it's we'll get into that part of it. But, yeah, I mean, what would it take for you to just put Chris Olave in your lineup and say, hey, don't got to worry about it this week?
I'm not far off from that. I mean, to me, it's funny that him and Nico Collins are both on here. They've played less games. I wonder if once your sample size grows, you close down, you come back to the pack. But maybe those two guys will stay in the upper right corner of this graphic all year long, even when they're both back healthy, playing a lot more games. But I guess the bigger question for me is I think Olave's got the talent. I think he's got the opportunity. I think he's got the big playability, the hands, the route running. He's the go-to guy for Derek Carr. He's the go-to guy for Spencer Rattler. I guess I just don't fully grasp why they don't throw it to him as much as the Cowboys throw to CeeDee Lamb every time I turn on the TV. Like I mean, you've talked a lot about how they go through their set progressions or whatever, but like I don't understand why, as a scheme, as a plan, that getting Chris Olave 9 targets a game or more is not easier to do. Not in these last couple games when nothing was going on, but even when things were good in the first month of the season, I'm a little surprised why he isn't like a lot of other number one receivers where they're going to get like their 10 targets.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously got injured right away against Tampa, first pass of the game to him, and that took. Yeah, I mean, Rattler hasn't had him at all. Like he hasn't had him at all. Yeah, Kansas City game. It was tough. It was a tough fight.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't really throw the ball. But I mean, like the problem with him, as far as like a fantasy set it and forget it thing for me, is he doesn't score. Like that kind of kills it a little bit. And you are scared every time you put him in there. And there's enough games where you look at it and you're like, man, like what the hell? And I don't know. It makes me nervous. Him being the only guy out there, he should get the ball more. They should be able to get it to him more. They should be thinking about how they're going to do that a little bit more. The one thing I was saying, though, I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this, and they're just like, well, like I hate that, like Derek, so he's wide open and then Derek checks on. I don't see that, and I might be missing something, but I go through the all 22 of every game about 3 or 4 times. I spend about 12 hours watching it every week. Like I personally don't see that. I see like he's throwing the ball to somebody on like that's read 1 or 2, and like Chris is over here running like a longer developing route sometimes, and he's open. But when you're actually watching it and you're watching the progression and the way they're doing it, it's very easy to tell how it's supposed to go. Like you can just watch where it goes. It starts on one and then he's going that direction. Or it starts to the left and he's going to the right. Like, so that's how it is. And it's usually he's throwing the ball to somebody else that's open before he gets to the Chris read on a lot of them. You could set him up earlier in some of those and try to get it to him that way. But I don't see Derek Carr looking at Chris Olave and being like, nope, I'm going to check it down. I really don't have an issue with how Derek played the position this season until the Kansas City game. I thought he played his position well. I thought it looked good. We can agree to disagree on that, but like I don't feel like he was like, nah, I'm not throwing to Chris, gonna check down to Jamal Williams like that. I just personally have not seen that this season, so I don't think that's the problem.
I don't know what the accusation would be on that because it's not like.
Well, that's kind of the story. That's kind of the general accusation on. They all think that he just checks down all the time.
Right, but he's obviously not afraid to make challenging throws. I mean, we see it all the time to Rashid Shaheed. I mean, it's not that he's just a check down king. I mean, nobody likes to. I think he's got a little Jameis Winston in him as much as he's looking for that deep home run ball. So I don't think he's afraid to take chances when he throws. So, I mean, is the accusation that he doesn't like throwing to Olave? That doesn't make sense. Olave makes quarterbacks right all the time. I just don't understand what the reasoning would be behind, like, seeing Olave open and choosing to pass up on that opportunity. That doesn't really jive.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't jive really on like a general sense either. Yeah. Like there hasn't, like Alvin's gotten the ball a handful of times, but like it isn't an overdose of passes to running backs this year either. Like it's just not. It's not something that I see.
Not to tight ends either.
It's not something that I see when I watch the games. I don't know. Like I might be missing something.
But Olave is obviously getting open and not getting thrown to.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing Derek Carr. Seeing him and passing up on it and choosing to.
Yeah, there's a lot of plays where I'm like, damn, he was open over here. I wish he would have got over further in the read. But it's hard to say, like, well, you shouldn't have thrown it here. Like,
Yep.
yeah, maybe there was a better look on read 2, but he threw to read 1, but that doesn't mean that it was wrong to throw to read 1. But, like, you might have had a better option at 2, but you can't bypass an open guy that you can throw the ball to. Like, I just personally do not have an issue with how he's played the position this year. And, you know, I don't know. I know everybody kind of has, like, a preconceived notion and everything, but – and we'll see. He's got to keep it up when he comes back, but I just don't. Like, I can't sit there and say that. Last year, yeah, I had a lot of criticism for how he was playing it. I thought that there were throws he was missing, stuff he wasn't doing. I thought he was being too cautious at times. This year, I don't see it. So I don't know. I don't know what else to do with that one. But, yeah, hopefully he starts getting the ball more, and I think it's something that kind of just has to happen because who else is he going to throw the ball to? So that's going to do it for that one in the first half of the show. We're going to hit a quick break real quick, and we'll be right back with more show. Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana. They were founded in 1980 and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. And Total Maintenance wants to show some love to our NOF listeners. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. It will never increase. Total Maintenance has a tune-up special running this summer for $79, down from the normal price of $179. This is a one-time offer for one system only. They also offer a free diagnostic on second opinions on units deemed to be unrepairable, and they offer free estimates for replacements as well as commercial maintenance programs. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. Martin Wine and Spirits is home to a selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and much, much more. They are family owned and operated since 1946 and specialize in wine, spirits, gourmet food, gift baskets, catering, and tasting events. They have many locations, so they're never too far away. You can check them out in Metairie, New Orleans, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge, or if it's more convenient, you can always shop online. Whether you're a wine novice or a seasoned collector, you'll enjoy the Martin Wine and Spirit experience.
It's good! The Saints score! Saints score! Score big with Saints Score. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawings for cool Saints prize packages. Play Saints Score scratch-offs from the lottery.
Hey everyone, this episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Every man knows the unbeatable feeling of a fresh barbershop shave. Now, what if I told you that you no longer have to wait weeks or even months between appointments to experience it? Introducing Manscaped's newest innovation, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver, the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver is your go-to for precision and style every single time. Head over to manscaped.com and join the 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code NewOrleans, that's one word, New Orleans, for 20% off and free shipping.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of stepping into your dream home. At Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, we can help make that dream a reality with a team dedicated to you. When you partner with Jefferson Financial, you do so for the life of the loan. Having a single point of contact when questions arise is invaluable. Our experts are here to guide you every step of the way. There's no better time to invest in your future. Apply online at jeffersonfinancial.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street.
Welcome to the Queen Casino, where entertainment meets unparalleled customer service. From our days on the water to our new land experience overlooking the Mississippi River, our dedicated staff is here to ensure your visit is nothing short of exceptional. Whether you are coming or going, our well-lit parking lot and security team provide guests with red carpet treatment. Our security team keeps watch so you can focus on fun and fortune. From table to table, our attentive staff is here to serve up the ultimate experience. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back to the Oshner Health Podcast Studio. We are up here at PJ's on Airline Highway. Make sure you come and check them out. Get your day started every single day with them. And if you're in the market for a new car, hit up my guy, Matt Powers, at one of his many dealerships. They'll get you the best prices that you can get. All right, let's talk about this game. Saints and Chargers this weekend. This segment is presented by Aaron Rose. Which matchups are you looking at the most in this game?
So I mentioned it earlier that we've kind of let Trevor Penning and Talifuaga slide because they've been like the two steady offensive linemen who stayed in the lineup all year, and for a while the interior offensive line became the bigger issue. But remember way back to September and August and July and June and May and February and March and every other month this year when we were wondering what the hell the Saints were going to do at offensive tackle. And now they are going to face Khalil Mack and possibly Joey Bosa. I've been waiting to see if their final injury report has come out. I don't think it has yet. But Bosa's been limited in practice all week. It sounds like there's some optimism that he'll be back for the first time in week 3. And yeah, that's a tough matchup. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. I mean, Poona Ford's in that mix for them too. They're going to test those offensive tackles while, even though the interior offensive line is getting healthier, I think that's still a tough matchup for the Saints.
Okay, so I'm seeing their injury report right now. They have Joey Bosa. Yeah, I think so. I think this is somebody that covers their team. Joey Bosa is listed as questionable. DJ Chark is questionable. Will Dissly, Hayden Hurst, Ladd McConkey, Denzel Perryman, all questionable, all limited today. Doubtful, Darius Davis and Quentin Johnston are both doubtful. And then Khalil Mack came off the injury report today. Christian Fulton came off today. And Jasser Taylor also. Christian
Fulton's a big one. He came off the injury report. He's a starting corner for them, so that helps them a little there too.
Yeah, so if Bosa can't play, it's Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree's our other end, I believe, so it'll probably be him and Mack coming off the edges. But, yeah, definitely that tackle matchup is going to be a huge one. The interior, not necessarily the biggest test in the world. They aren't great inside. They got some decent linebackers. Yeah, I mean, the secondary, if they have everybody, they're okay. Their defense doesn't necessarily scare me too much. Like, I think they're a beatable group. Obviously, they have Derwin James still at safety. I haven't seen a lot from him this year, and all I can really remember is Mike Thomas absolutely cooking him last year in training camp. But, yeah, he's still there for them.
Their defense – it's a weird defense. It's kind of similar to like the Saints defense from a couple years ago when they had that streak of like 10 straight games where they didn't allow anyone to score 20 points against them. They don't do it with flash, but they definitely do it with substance. They have not allowed this. These are their points allowed this year: 10, 3, 20, 17, 16, 17, 20 once.
Yeah. And they just possess the ball so long, too. Like, they make it hard to score a lot of points. They make the game a little bit shorter by just kind of, like, sitting on the ball so long. And they do that with they have, like, a really loaded offensive line. Slater, Zion Johnson at guard. Like, they got 3 really good guys. Dissly at tight end. He can block a little bit. They got a pretty good stout front that kind of makes it tough, and then J.K. Dobbins obviously is a bruiser. Like he's somebody they're gonna have to be able to tackle him. But yeah, they got a good front. I mean, I really think it's yeah. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna get pressure in this game. Honestly, like I think it's gonna be tough unless there's some other plan. I don't know if you blitz more. I don't know what it is. Justin Herbert's gonna see the blitz, so I don't know if that's necessarily the answer. But you got to find a way to speed him up a little bit and not let him just sit back there behind that line. And boy, if they're getting blown off the ball like they did the last couple of weeks in the run game, it's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah. And so, look, that's the number one matchup in this game. We probably didn't need to say it third, but we've talked about a lot this week. The Saints have given up over 500 rushing yards in their last 2 games, and against not very good rushing teams.
Yeah.
Now they're facing a really good rushing team, a team that will stubbornly keep running the ball. Greg Roman runs it as much as anyone. Dobbins has been a little hit or miss this year. He's got 4 games with like 96 yards or more, or 3 games with 96 yards or more, 3 games with 40 yards or less. But they're going to keep testing that front unless the Saints build some sort of a big lead, which we don't expect in this game. Their run defense is going to be tested beginning to end. But I mean, we just casually threw in the name Justin Herbert. I mean, he used to be considered like one of the like big 5 in the NFL, and I think that's gone quiet. But he was dealing with an injury earlier this year, and I think he's started to get on track in recent weeks. And I mean, that is just so dangerous that like if you ever do stop the run on 1st and 2nd down, it's like, all right, it's 3rd and 7. Well, Justin Herbert can make a play, and so him, if we're doing it as a matchup against the secondary that now no longer has Paulson Adebo, he's going to get a chance to test Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's going to play 80% of the snaps. Alontae Taylor is going to be starting outside and doing that for the first time all year, even though we think that's a strength of his. So, you know, that could be strength on strength, but we'll find out if it's strength on strength.
And that game kicks off Sunday at 3:05, so make sure you're watching. We'll have our live blog going during the game. If you want to sign up for the site, sign up for that. Live analysis throughout the game, and then the post-game show goes out for members on Sunday night after the game. Everybody else will be on the YouTube sometime late Monday, so you can get that early and watch it live on our site if you sign up, NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. All right, it's time now for the Martin's questions of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's, so much more than just wine. Aside from the head coach, what do you guys think of the rest of the coaching staff? And do the Saints have a solid coaching staff? Is that a reason to stay the course for another year? If the Saints have a solid coaching staff, is that a reason to stay the course for another year?
Yeah, I want to find out more about this offensive staff. I mean, it's not a reason enough to keep the head coach just to keep the offensive staff if they get back to being as high as we were on them in weeks 1 and 2. But I mean, it would, you know, if they get back when they have their players back to being as good as they looked in the month of September, that would be a tough decision to make at the end of the year. If you're firing an entire staff, you're firing that too. I really like the offense. Now we've seen warts, we've seen huge warts because of the injuries, but we've also seen warts that have been hidden by some of the injuries. So the good thing is there's 10 more weeks to evaluate those guys, but I mean, geez, if the offense gets healthy and Derek Carr comes back and Eric McCoy comes back and it looks again like they really found something with this offensive staff, I'm really curious how that leads to the overall evaluation of DA and his entire staff, because if you throw out DA, you have to throw that out too. So that'll be really interesting to me. I think Mike Hodges, the linebackers coach, is another guy you feel really good about in whatever capacity he's in. But it's a fair question, but none of that would – I mean, if you decided you needed a change at head coach, I think it would signal you need a widespread changes in a lot of places.
Yeah, I don't think a coordinator is a reason to keep a coach.
Yeah,
like sometimes you can keep a coordinator and bring in a different coach and let them make a decision then on the other side of it. I just want to evaluate all of them for 10 more games. Like, I'm sorry, but I want to see what the impact of the injuries actually was. Can the run defense get fixed? If they go 7-3, I don't know. Like, I know nobody wants to hear that, but if you go 7-3 on the backside of these injuries, it probably stands to reason that the injuries were an actual legitimate reason, that something that was preventing you from success. Now, if you don't do that and you're just puddling along 50-50, 500 down the stretch, then I think you look at everything a lot more critically than that. But I just want all the information before I sit here and make a decision. Having said that, if they lose this game and the next game, then, it's different. But if they're showing something, then they show something, and we'll find out. But as far as the rest of the staff, I think there's some good people on there, and I think we just need more information on everybody as a whole, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But DA is going to make his own bet. Whatever it is, that's what it's going to be. And, that's to be determined. There were a lot of guys out, and we're going to see if that actually mattered or not. And I think it's part of it, but it's not all of it, and they definitely have to be a lot better on defense. That's a huge issue, and as much of a reason for losing as anything else at this point. Even if the offense had been healthy the last 2 weeks, the way the defense was playing, I think it would have been hard to figure out a way to win when you can't stop anything. So that's something that has to be critically fixed right now. Going to the next one. What young players, guys who are on rookie deals, do you consider to be building blocks of the long-term future of the team? Also, if an AFC contender called, said Lattimore in a fifth for a second, would the Saints take that?
All right. I guess we can answer these in two parts. Building blocks of the team. Me and Kevin just did the members-only podcast, and this was a little bit of our topic. I feel good about some pieces. Depends what you mean by building block. Like I was saying, one of my long-term concerns is I don't know that they have the next Cam Jordan, DeMario Davis, and Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu in the building. I like Alontae Taylor. I'm really excited to find out if we like Kool-Aid McKinstry. I mean, I'm not saying I'm excited that Paulson Adebo got hurt, but that'll be an interesting thing to get to watch and get a really strong evaluation on over the next 10 weeks. Eric McCoy is still a building block on offense. I think Brian Brzee and Carl Granderson are complementary pieces on a defensive line, but I think you need two more better players. I think they need to be your third and fourth best player on a starting defensive line. And then obviously Tali Fuaga is potentially number one on the list if he lives up to his potential.
Yeah, those are all good. Did you mention Olave?
No. I started on the back end. I was looking at recent draft classes, and Olave's one more draft class. Of course, I feel great about Olave and Shaheed to a certain extent.
Yeah, those guys, I think you probably hit all. You said Brzee, right?
I said that. I didn't say Pete Werner. They extended him. He counts too.
Yeah, he said rookie contract, so Pete technically isn't really.
Yeah, Granderson wouldn't count.
He's part of that. He's part of that young core. But yeah, I think you kind of hit all of them.
McCoy wouldn't count.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing that's interesting. I don't feel great about the future of the Saints, but I always think of the 5 key positions as being quarterback, and then you can jumble the order next just based on how guys get paid. It's defensive end, it's offensive tackle, it's receiver, it's corner. And they've made decent investments in 3 of those spots, like corner, receiver, and offensive tackle. They have some building blocks there, so that's kind of good.
Yeah,
quarterback and defensive end are still huge.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good way to look at it. You're 60% kind of hitting. You need.
I think quarterback and DE might be 1 and 2.
You're okay with Penning, but I don't know if I'd call him a building block yet. But you're okay with him.
I can't go there yet.
But he could be around for a while, as a viable starter. Maybe it seems.
That's also I need the 10 more weeks to decide.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's definitely fair. But he's taken some of the edge off for me, though. He's taken a little bit of the edge off for me. I'm not as worried about. I don't go into a game thinking, what are they going to do with Trevor Penning on the field? So to his credit, that doesn't mean he's thriving.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see. 10 more weeks. Yeah. We'll talk about it in 5 weeks and see where we're at on it. All right. What young players, guys who we already did that, and then Lattimore, the fifth for a second. Would the Saints take it? I don't think they would. I don't think they're looking to trade anything.
You don't think they would? I'd trade him for a second. I would trade Lattimore for a second.
I think they are dug in and thinking they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to try to make the playoffs. I think that's where they're at.
I'd trade Lattimore in a second based on where he is in his career.
Would I make the trade? Yes, I would make the trade. Will they? I don't think they would. Do you? I mean, Mickey has told us
Lattimore's independent of this team-building concept. They're not giving up. They think Derek Carr's their quarterback next year. They're not going to be sellers at the deadline, quote-unquote. They re-signed Alvin. I get all that. But Lattimore's just a different conversation because I think they spent the whole offseason being willing to trade him, and I don't know if that's gone away necessarily.
It seems like he's bought in, though.
All right.
He's
playing great this year. He's playing great this year.
He's coming back from injuries quickly.
All right.
I don't know. I don't
Which is all the more reason why someone should finally make the offer that they probably weren't making in the offseason.
I just don't think they would. I would.
Okay.
If I'm the GM of the Saints and someone offers
would
me
you
a
do
second
for and a fifth? You also have to give up a fifth to get that second?
Yeah, I'd do that fine. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I would do it. But I see the situation a little bit differently than I think they do.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you,
fair.
Us covering the team, everything we've heard and seen, and been told
they're not sellers. They're not
says they
rebuilders.
are not making a trade. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, that's going to do it for this.
We have one. That was our last March question.
That's going to do it for this portion of the show. For the members, we're going to keep it rolling into overtime. If you want to sign up for the site, sign up. You get the overtime segment as well as the rest of the podcast. There's a bonus podcast every week, the in-game analysis, all of our news, all of our write-ups, all of our stories. It's a lot of stuff for $9 a month. So sign up for that. And, everybody else, keep it here.